Homeowner owed $40,000 on the mortgage, and she was looking to get about $20,000 on top of her mortgage so that she could pay off other bills and pay her car off and everything else. And there was just no way that I was able to pay that much. So we actually parted ways at that time. I gave her my information. I said, I am interested in the property, but I can't pay you what you're looking for. She finally called me back a couple months later, realized she wasn't going to be able to get that much, and was just looking to see how she could get out of the problem of having to always make the payments and pay the taxes and all that. So I informed her that really the only way that I'd be able to purchase this property from her is to do a short sale on the property. And I could offer her $25,000, but her lender would have to accept that as a short payoff for the balance of the mortgage. So she agreed to that. I handed the contract off to Lisa Wood, our resident short sale expert. I gave her the information, told her what we were trying to do, and I honestly didn't think that anything was going to come about of it, because with the property being worth $175 and still needing $90 in repairs, that means the as-is value is somewhere around $70,000 to $80,000, and the homeowner only owed $40,000 on the property. But I was going to the lender saying I can only pay $25,000 for it. Honestly, I just put it out of my mind. I didn't even think anything was going to come out of it. Lisa did her job and continued working it. A few months later, she came back and said, well, the lender's really looking to get about $60,000 for the property, and I wasn't able to pay that much. So I came out, I took pictures of the stickers and everything that were on the door. There were all sorts of citations for overgrown grass, trash in the yard. There was actually a sticker saying it was unsafe to enter the premises, so it was basically a condemned property from the county. And I sent that to Lisa saying, look, this is what the lender's going to get if they just end up taking the property back through foreclosure. Tell them I'm willing to take it off their hands now at $25,000, but that's my highest and best offer. I still didn't think anything was going to come of it. It still took a few months later, but Lisa did her magic, and she ended up getting the lender to approve a $25,000 purchase price. So that was the beginning of December of 2012, and they wanted it off their books by the end of the year, so they said we had to close by December 21st. So they only gave me a few weeks to figure out how to get the funds and everything to do this deal. So luckily I had lenders that I've worked with in the past, hard money lenders, talked with them about the deal. They were willing to do the deal as long as the property appraised for what I felt the value was, and that the scope of work met what they felt was needed at the property. So they first had their contractor come out. I had done a scope of work at about $90,000. They wanted a couple of other contingencies in case there was other work that was needed, so they put in $105,000 as the repair estimate. So we then had the appraiser come out, and they do an appraisal of an after repaired value. They look at the scope of work and they say, okay, once all this is completed, what is the property going to appraise for after everything is done? And to all of our surprise, the after repaired value appraisal came in at $245,000. So because this deal took so long from when I first started, it was about a year and a half from when I first started talking with the homeowner to the point where we were getting ready to close and getting the funds to close on the deal. The property values, there were other properties in this area that had been renovated and sold, so it brought the values up. So that just put even more profit in there for me. So because there was such equity spread in there, the lender was willing to fund both the purchase and the renovation of the property. I just had to come up with closing costs, which amounted to about $10,000 for this property. Now, I had other investors that were looking to invest in my deals, so I didn't put any of my own money in this property. I had an investor that came in, gave the funds for the down payment, paid for the holding costs, so the mortgage payment, the utilities, all the holding costs while the renovation was going on. They got a return on their money, and I was able to do this whole deal with absolutely no money of my own in the deal. I was able to do it with OPM, other people's money. So purchasing the property for $25,000, the rehab costs ended up being $105,000. We added some extra work that we weren't first anticipating doing. We ended up going down even further in the basement so that we could finish the basement, which added some extra costs, but it ended up being $105,000 to renovate the property. We ended up selling it for $232,000. So after all the expenses were calculated, paid off the investors, paid off the hard money lender. I was left with a $68,000 profit for the property, and also got about a $7,000 commission check for being the listing agent on the transaction. So all told, $75,000 profit on this deal without having to put a dime of my own money.